Have you ever had the impression that you no longer control your life? As though your entire day is centered around your kids' needs and desires? It's normal to want to support them, aid them when they need it, and keep in touch as you become older. However, there is a thin line separating being a helpful parent from turning into a servant in your own later years. In actuality, a lot of seniors unintentionally fall into this trap. They provide excessively, neglect their own health, and gradually come to the realization that their children's demands have surpassed their own time, effort, and even financial stability. The good news is that things don't have to be this way. You don't have to give up your independence, your self-respect, or the life you've created for yourself in order to be a caring parent. In order to prevent you from becoming a slave to your children's demands, we'll discuss 6 effective strategies in this video for preserving your independence as you age. These techniques will enable you to live your life as you see fit while preserving strong, meaningful bonds with your family, from establishing clear boundaries to guaranteeing your financial freedom. Keep reading because what we're going to reveal could fundamentally alter your perspective on your later years. Let's begin. First, establish boundaries. Assuming that their position as a caregiver never really ends is one of the major misconceptions made by many older parents. You brought up your kids, provided for all of their needs, and assisted them in growing up. However, that does not imply that you owe them your entire life. It's time to establish clear boundaries if you're constantly at their mercy, rearranging your life to accommodate them, and feeling bad when you refuse. Mutual respect is necessary for healthy partnerships, and this includes valuing your personal life, time, and energy. You need to start setting boundaries for what is and isn't appropriate if your kids want you to take care of their duties, drop everything for them, or make decisions that will only benefit them. That doesn't imply being chilly or excluding them. It entails expressing that your demands are equally important to them. Consider 72-year-old Robert, who was forced to watch his grandchildren 5 days a week. He enjoyed assisting at first, but as time went on, he came to the realization that he had no more time for himself. Something incredible occurred when he at last raised his voice and established boundaries. His kids adapted. Without jeopardizing his ties to his family, they came up with alternative options, and Robert regained his independence. Prioritizing oneself is not selfish. It's essential. The role of a parent is not to provide for their children indefinitely, but to teach them to be self-sufficient. Setting limits helps you keep a close and loving relationship with your kids while teaching them to respect your time and effort. Second, put your personal financial stability first. A common error made by older parents is prioritizing their children's financial demands over their own. Sometimes out of responsibility, sometimes out of affection, they give out enormous sums of money, co-sign loans, or take money out of their savings. However, the unpleasant reality is that nobody will replace your money after it's gone. You should be able to finally enjoy the results of your hard work when you retire. However, a lot of seniors experience financial difficulties as a result of feeling bad about saying no. While lending a hand to your kids when you can is a good thing, giving up your financial security to ensure their comfort is a risky move. In all honesty, the best thing you can do for them is to make sure you never end up becoming a financial burden. Consider Harold, a 74-year-old father who has been helping his son avoid poor financial choices for years. Despite his son's repeated promises to reimburse him, the money was never returned. Harold eventually came to the realization that he was endangering his own future. He was forced to make the tough choice to cease giving out money and allow his son to gain independence. And although it was difficult at first, Harold was able to safeguard the retirement he had so diligently worked for as his son grew in maturity. Give it careful thought before granting your children's request for financial assistance. Will this jeopardize your personal safety? Are they depending on you rather than solving problems independently? Since no one else will do it for you, you must prioritize yourself. Don't allow guilt to persuade you to sacrifice your peace of mind. Instead, defend what you have worked for. Please leave a number 2 comment below to let me know whether you're still viewing this video and finding these ideas helpful. To ensure you don't miss any videos, I advise you to subscribe and turn on the bell if you haven't already. We can keep producing high-quality content to educate and uplift you thanks to your support. All right, let's proceed. Third, take care of your own hobbies in life. Allowing their world to narrow around their children is one of the most typical mistakes people make as they age. Little things like postponing personal objectives because they might need you, canceling plans to help them with errands, or spending more time babysitting than doing what you enjoy are the first steps. Before you know it, they become the center of your entire existence. All of a sudden, you are unsure of your identity beyond becoming a parent. The fact is, though, that you are more than just mom or dad. Before your kids took over your life, you had interests, friendships, and goals, and those things are still important. You run the risk of losing your identity if you give up your hobbies. Furthermore, nothing saps a person's energy more quickly than feeling as though their life is no longer their own. Consider 76-year-old Edward, a former educator who has always had a passion for woodworking. He was happy to assist when his daughter had her first kid and began spending more and more time caring for his grandson. But before he knew it, he was scarcely using his tools as his days were once again occupied with raising children. He didn't understand how much he had given up on his own ambitions until a friend urged him to resume furniture building. He felt more content after resuming his pastime and even made new acquaintances who had similar interests. It's simple to defend prioritizing your kids, but you must consider who is watching out for you. Waiting to be needed is not the path to a happy old age. It results from going after your passions. Maintaining your own interests keeps you active, involved, and self-sufficient, whether it's through a hobby, travel, education, or just spending time with inspiring people. You should be allowed to live your own life, just as your children do. Fourth, encourage independence rather than reliance. Being able to stand on their own 2 feet is one of the best gifts you can give your kids. However, even far into adulthood, far too many parents still intervene, resolve their issues, and make their lives easier. This can cause more harm than good, even though it could feel like love. You might be preventing children from learning how to deal with life's obstacles on their own, rather than giving them more authority. It's crucial to consider whether you're enabling them or assisting them. Your children will never have the chance to develop resilience if they constantly ask you for financial assistance, emotional support, or a quick solution to their issues, and you always provide it. Additionally, you could become worn out from providing all the time while they keep taking. Consider Frank, a 70-year-old parent who came to the realization that his 40-year-old son had never really been able to stand on his own. Frank was always there to offer financial support, correct errors, and act as a safety net when things were tough. However, something unexpected occurred when Frank ultimately made the decision to cease helping him. His son solved the problem on his own. Yes, he made mistakes, but he also gained responsibility. Because there was no longer any expectation that Frank would always come through for them, their relationship actually got better. This does not imply that you should not help your kids, but there is a distinction between helping them and taking on their responsibilities. Now that they are adults, part of maturing is learning how to deal with failure, make choices, and accept accountability for their own actions. You can be depriving them of the opportunity to acquire the abilities necessary to genuinely succeed if you continually jumping in. Please leave a number 4 comment below to let me know if you're still watching this video and finding these ideas helpful. To ensure you don't miss any videos, I advise you to subscribe and turn on the bell if you haven't already. We can keep producing high-quality content to educate and uplift you thanks to your support. All right, let's proceed. The 5th step is to become emotionally independent. Unknowingly, a lot of elderly parents link their emotional health to that of their kids. They wait for calls, get upset when their children don't come, and change their moods according upon the amount of attention they get. The harsh reality is that you should never let other people's behavior determine how happy you are. You relinquish control over your own life the instant you let your kids decide how you feel. Loving your family is normal, but loving them and becoming emotionally reliant on them are 2 different things. You place yourself in a state of perpetual disappointment when your feeling of value is based on how frequently they call, how much they value you, or how involved they are in your life. Your kids are occupied. They have their own families, occupations, and obligations. Furthermore, even though they may have a great deal of love for you, they cannot provide you with all of your emotional needs. Consider 73-year-old Eleanor, who used to get devastated whenever her son neglected to call or canceled plans. She felt undervalued for years until she made the decision to change her emphasis one day. She began scheduling events with friends, joining social circles, and rekindling forgotten hobbies rather than waiting for her kids to approach her. The outcome? Because she was no longer burdening her children with her happiness, she grew happier, more self-assured, and surprise, her connection with them really improved. You possess the ability to bring happiness into your own life. Building a solid emotional foundation apart from your kids helps you avoid needless suffering and letdowns. You should surround oneself with positive individuals. Engage in pursuits that make you happy, and understand that the amount of attention you get does not define your worth. You can't find true happiness by waiting for other people to provide it to you. Sixth, establish limits to keep your peace. Learning to say no is one of the most effective things you can do as you age. Too many parents believe they must grant every request, whether it be to lend money, watch their grandchildren, or change their schedules to suit their children's requirements. The truth is that you are not an endless resource, and your well-being, time, and energy are just as important as theirs. Having boundaries does not imply that you no longer love your kids. It just indicates that you value yourself and won't compromise your tranquility to appease others. Setting limits is essential if you are continuously feeling exhausted, undervalued, or taken advantage of. Think about George, a 78-year-old father who for years granted his children's requests. Do you require a loan? He would give it to you. Do you need assistance moving? He would postpone his plans. Last-minute need for someone to care the grandchildren? He would give up everything. He eventually came to the realization that his generosity had become a duty and that his kids no longer valued his assistance, but had become accustomed to it. He made the decision to establish boundaries one day. He stopped going above and beyond for his personal satisfaction, but he continued to assist when he truly wanted to. His kids were shocked at first, but they eventually came to respect his choices, and as a result, their relationship improved. Setting boundaries does not mean excluding others. They are about safeguarding your personal health. When you put your needs first, you set an example for others to follow and make room for relationships based on respect rather than duty. You've done enough. It's time to allow yourself to live your life as you see fit. Please leave a number 6 comment below to let me know if you're still watching this video and finding these ideas helpful. To ensure you don't miss any videos, I advise you to subscribe and turn on the bell if you haven't already. We can keep producing high-quality content to educate and uplift you thanks to your support. All right, let's proceed. Last remarks. As you progress through this phase of your life, keep this in mind. Serving others at the expense of your own happiness is not why you are here. You have dedicated decades to providing for your family, making sacrifices, and acting in their best interests. It's your time to put yourself first, though. That doesn't imply abandoning your family obligations or severing your ties to your kids. It just means realizing that your life is still yours. Getting balance is the key to a happy old age. Do not become your children's servant, even though you love them. Support others, but don't allow yourself to be used. When you can, lend a hand, but don't put your health at risk. You deserve to live a life that reflects your continued humanity, complete with wants, goals, and desires. Therefore, as you consider the 6 topics we discussed today, consider which one you need to improve the most. Are you establishing sound boundaries? Are you defending your mental health? Do you consider your satisfaction when making decisions instead of merely what your kids want? We would be delighted to hear from you. Tell us about one thing you learned today and how you intend to apply it in your life in the comments section below. We value your opinions, so please feel free to express them. We are greatly inspired and encouraged by reading your remarks. Please like, subscribe, and share this video if you found it entertaining and useful. We can keep producing high-quality content to educate and uplift you thanks to your support. We appreciate your time and hope to see you in the upcoming video.